Welcome back to Fresh Outlook, everybody. It is time for the lightning round. I am joined by Alain Sanders of St. Peter's University, Yohuru Williams of Fairfield University, and also by Dan Friedheim, who is a diplomat and world thinker. Let's talk first about this woman from the NAACP, Rachel Dolezal. Apparently, she's been living her life for the last 20 years or so, saying she is black, but those are her parents. That's her when she was younger. That's her now with a so-called black identity. She identifies as black. My question to Yohuru Williams is, if Caitlyn Jenner says she is a woman and we must accept that or we're bigots, do we have to accept that Rachel Dolezal is black because she feels it in her soul?
A slightly different context only because of her involvement with the NAACP, which is interesting because this is an organization that's founded in 1909 by whites and African Americans. The irony is the NAACP doesn't restrict membership to whites. There's this perception among Americans that it's a black-only organization, but its history has been rich of deep involvement of white Americans. Rachel didn't need to darken her skin and make her hair that way in order to be involved in the NAACP. Having said that, I think her own deep cultural connection and longing for identification with the African American community is what's driving this. So in some sense, it's really us interrogating her own personal, Bart Rossi would have been great on this piece. You kind of need a psychologist to kind of delve through her. But the larger issue of the organization itself, she didn't need to do this.
Exactly, but we hear about white privilege all the time. Does this beg the question, is there black privilege, Alan?
Well, I mean, I think you have to wonder about who she is. I mean, the problem is not that she identifies herself as black or that she wants to be part of the NAACP. The NAACP welcomes everyone, as you've eloquently pointed out. But who is this person? And if she falsifies aspects of her life...
But if she believes it, it's not falsified. According to the Caitlyn Jenner paradigm.
Right, but I mean, there's belief. I mean, I can believe all kinds of things. I can believe
isn't that, well, I see a former Olympic gold medal winner, and I see a man still, but if I said that to somebody, I'd be transphobic. But I still think he's a guy.
Right.
Dressed like a woman.
What you have to understand is you have to know her. You have to come to know her and see whether
she's... We're talking about Caitlyn or about Rachel?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I think you have to know them and understand whether there's an act here or there's a superficiality here or whether there's actual reality here. What she calls herself is almost irrelevant. I mean, at some level, she can call herself whatever. Is she in tune with the NAACP agenda? Is she in tune with where most black people come out on various issues? Then that's all that really matters.
So I was just going to say, from my international perspective, thinking of a country with lots of racial mixing, like Brazil, huge, much bigger slave population imported historically than in the US. But so much mixing, there's no question of you're completely black or you're completely white. It's a very American thing to say you got to be completely all one way or another.
We will have another 15 minutes on this at one point. Who exactly is white? Who exactly is black? Because you could check my DNA right now. I might be part black. We never know.
The problem is once you start falsifying information, and I think this was your larger point, now what she's done is incredible damage to the NAACP because all these things that she was spearheading, including investigations into the police, authorities are now calling into question and saying, we can't trust her integrity.
And that's exactly, it's a question of trust. How do you trust somebody who says that?
Well, I say that about Elizabeth Warren, who says she's American Indian too, but we'll talk about that another
legitimate
day.
Point.
Exactly. Let's talk about the other Elizabeth Warren in this race for president, Hillary Clinton. Boy, I'm being offensive today, aren't I? She's on Roosevelt Island. Correct. She's proclaiming that she wants to be like Eleanor Roosevelt and be a great woman leader. Dan, what's your take on Hillary Clinton and her coming out today?
Well, I mean, she's kind of fading old news, it seems to me, right? And she's got to try to come up with a way to get people's attention and in a positive light and change the subject from all of the, well, kind of predictable, old, slightly, maybe questionable, perhaps even sleazy dealings, either in the foundation or before.
Alan finds
She'll
her
be changing
extremely
the subject
sleazy.
a lot.
Alan, what's your
Look,
take
I mean,
on Hillary
I
Clinton?
don't care whether she had a sleazy background or a not sleazy background, irrelevant. This is a perfect place to launch the campaign. She was a New York senator. This is New York City. Roosevelt is an icon of the Democratic Party. This is a perfect environment in which to associate yourself with all the good images of the Democratic Party. What we think about her, I mean, any politician coming out of New York would have thought the same thing. The fact that she's a woman and she can identify with Eleanor Roosevelt, wonderful. Okay, I think this we read too much into it. This is a perfect place to launch her campaign. Whether she succeeds, then we can move on to the other issues. But to launch the campaign, absolutely.
Yohuru, she doesn't need New York. She's got New York in the. She's got New York. She's got California. We know where she's going to win. Why is she launching into New York?
She needed a big, and this is interesting because she's been in the race essentially for 10 weeks now. So there are other people who are having a big splash, but she needed a place where people were going to be enthusiastic and the campaign would get a big splash, and she got that today in spades. What's interesting for me, I think the larger conversation here is that history matters. I mean, it's why Mitt Romney went to Dallas, where JFK made his famous pitch because he had the religion issue. It's why Obama tried to connect himself to Lincoln. This is brilliant on her part, just trying to tap into the history.
Yohuru Williams, thank you very much. Alain Sanders, thank you very much. Dan Friedheim, thank you very much. I'm Logan Crawford for a fresh outlook. Thanks for joining us. We will see you here again next week. Good job, everybody.